Logan, if someone new to screenwriting and filmmaking said to you, how do I get my script to, and then fill in the blank of some famous director from, Ryan Coogler, Ryan Johnson, Zack Snyder, etc. It could be so many names. What would your advice be? What would you say to them?
My advice would be that it's twofold. I cannot speak for any specific individual. The sort of walls around making that happen are very, very tall and hard to climb. And again, 999 times out of 1,000, it's not going to go anywhere probably. I do think that having the sort of attitude of being willing to cold call and do outreach to people and to take on that responsibility yourself, I think is a really positive, that's a really positive character trait. With the caveat of that I do think that sometimes now people aren't being as, I've seen a lot of examples of people not being as professional or responsible about that as I think that they should be. Again, it sort of makes common sense if you're trying to do outreach to people to give you an opportunity, you probably want to do that with your best foot forward for all sorts of reasons, right? But so I do think that that's the sort of line to walk, which is you have to know going into any sort of situation, it's probably not going to happen, but you should also have the attitude to sort of keep trying and try to come up with the best way forward. And I don't mean anything crazy. I just mean that it's a positive character trait to go I'm going to take on the responsibility of myself of trying to make things happen for myself. And because to me it's the sort of thing where it's even once you have a larger team and more relationships and stuff, it's still a lot of it still falls upon you to do the legwork, right? And so you should be comfortable with that, and you should be somebody and if you're not somebody who is super comfortable with that, I would figure out ways to become more comfortable with that. Honestly, don't harass people also.
Oh, sure, absolutely. But I'm wondering if there's another turn, and that would be, what about the advice of, if this is your first script, don't bother. Make it yourself. You're not, as cold as I said, maybe you're not ready yet to reach out to the Nolans of the world. However great you think it might be, kind of thing. But go and have it produced yourself. Find someone, and if you can't, try crowdfunding, and if not, try other avenues. I don't want to recommend credit cards, because I don't think that's a good idea. I know people do it, but instead of no, Jerry Bruckheimer has to get this. I have to find him to get, you know what I'm saying? And so,
yeah.
And there's a lot of mentality out there like that, and especially probably people in other states. Hollywood, I think once you get here, you start to realize, okay, that's probably not a good idea, but it sounds good in theory. If only so-and-so saw this, it would be a done deal.
Yeah, I think that my sort of perspective on that would be that to be flexible and to be aware of what the goals are and how you're what are you trying, ultimately, what are you trying to do? What is the point of this project to you, right? Does it exist solely to get representation? Does it exist to to pitch is it a short to exist to pitch a feature to sell that? Whatever those goals are, and then knowing that there's a lot of different ways to approach that sort of situation that probably takes a lot of outside of the box thinking. I would say that outside of literally like, again, I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Like Jerry Bruckheimer doesn't want to talk to you. He doesn't want to talk to you. I mean, he has his friends and his family. He's busy. But I think that, like, to me, what's important is how do you make the situation like work for you? Like how, oh no, this is what I was going to say. I'm sorry. I was going to say that even if that was a viable like path, right? That is also the path that the reason that these sort of like, whoever, the celebrities or whatever, why they put up these walls is because they're being inundated with people all day long, right? That's why they have all these defenses, because it's a very obvious path that everybody's like all trying to crowd into, right? And so the other thought that I would have is, what is a not obvious path? Why would I approach something where the odds were already so ridiculously stacked against me just because it's so crowded? Why would, this is actually a thing that like for LA people, right? Or I'm sure there's equivalent, like in LA, there's a couple like huge major thoroughfares, right? That are not like not the freeways. It's like going crosstown, it's like Beverly and Melrose and Santa Monica, right? At rush hour or at any time, I never go down Beverly or Melrose or Santa Monica or 3rd. I will never, because I'm going to be stuck in bumper to bumper traffic. There's a zillion, it's a metropolis. There's a zillion other streets that are all going the same direction, and you'll still end up like where you want to go. If I'm just trying to go to some place on the east side, what matters is that I get to my destination. It doesn't matter how I got there. And I would really suggest to people to really think outside the box and be imaginative about, like, again, like, what is the goal and how do I create, like, how do I get there? That's, again, utilizing sort of like out of the box, like, thinking, you know, because anything that I've accomplished had nothing to do with like name brand, like celebrities. Like, and again, I'm not the like end all be all most successful person of all time, but I wouldn't have even gone down that path anyway, because it just feels like it's not like, it feels like there's so many alternatives that feel a lot more viable.